Alright then, let's get the hell out of this goddamn city.
You remember the canals from Half-Life 2? You get the little airboat and you get to just ride around, do some physics puzzles. Well, what if they were infinitely less interesting and you had to do it on foot? Well, welcome to Hunt Down the Freeman's, take on the canals. Because you just get chased by a combined gunship, but it somehow feels less exciting than the zombie horde from the previous mission. Like, it barely does any damage, and there's heaps of cover around you, plus, I don't think it's actually programmed to hit you. I tried firing back at it to see if that was what I was meant to do, but no, it's a chase sequence, so you just better run. We do get this cool little bit where the gunship's at the other end of a tunnel you're running down, but that might have been a bug. It's very unclear. Eventually we find our way into like a little sewerage thingo, and we're seen to be braced against like a last stand between us, the gunship, and some hunters. We kill the hunters with some very, very conveniently placed explosive barrels. Almost like some third party is watching us or something. More on that later. And then we start to get rained on by headcrab canisters. And I feel like it should be a really cool sequence. But I found a place where I was just safe from it all. So it was really just a hassle having to wait out for the animation to finish. One of them destroys us great and we get to leave the mission. But in some cruel, cold, calculated act, we are launched immediately into another mission. This one takes place in the suburbs, but the local construction company must have been using Left 4 Dead 2 models that day because all of this is from Left 4 Dead 2. I remember these buildings from, I think it was the Louisiana campaign, the one in the swamps, I think. And well, this isn't asset stealing, as this is a source engine game, and thus you can legally use Valve models and whatnot. But it is still kind of shifty. It shows a lack of care and just a desire or want to design and craft a unique world. But it is legal. So it's not the worst outcome, but I don't know, I'm still not a big fan of it. This level also showcases more problems with gameplay, which again just sets down to direction in the end. But with this part here, am I meant to sit here and shoot combined soldiers until they stop? And the answer, of course, is no. Despite the fact that the only way through this area takes you, past a fully interactable mounted machine gun pointed at combined soldiers. You're just meant to keep on walking. It's so fucking weird. And then you have this weird sequence of a strider, and it just doesn't really land. We just have to run until this random garage opens up, and then we go down there, and now we're in an underground car park. We shoot some pumpkin heads, and now we're underground, and now it's puzzle time. So, with this puzzle, I spent, no joke, 15 minutes trying to figure out what to actually do here. The basic idea is that we need that power cable for some power stuff downstairs, but we can't get over the fence. I tried stacking stuff up. I tried using the game's free running mechanic. No dice for either of them. I even found a vent that is fake. Very weird decision. Very, very weird decision. But the solution, it turns out, is to go downstairs, right, and use the elevator. I assumed the power was for the elevator. I assumed that's what everyone assumed, because why the fuck would a normal door need power? So you take the elevator up, get the cord, power the door, and now Adam's waiting for you down there for no fucking reason, and together you enter the subway where the US military is hiding out. Adam and Mitchell navigate past a minefield of claymores, which, as we all know, are the perfect weapon to use as mines, because they only fire frontward. So hopefully no one just walks behind them. And then we have a cutscene. We get introduced to some new characters and the ever-lovable Larry.
Cease fire! Cease fire! They're human. Well, well, look who we got here, boys. A Black Ops and a Marine. Hoorah! Let me introduce myself, son. I'm Colonel Q, but you can call me Sir.
Colonel, I met some of your men, Nick and Brad, at the hospital. They said you have a plan to get out of the city?
That's right. We do have a plan. We'll run away.
Where can we run away? Those aliens are everywhere.
That's where you're wrong, kiddo. This picture came from our contact, Captain Roosevelt. It was taken in California. They're in the air and on the ground.
Not on the sea.
Correct.
But there's no sea in New Mexico.
Well, that's why we're going to California.
The cutscene introduces us to the human race's only plan for survival. Apparently the Combine are on the land and in the air, but not the sea. And I feel like I have to point out a logical problem with this equation, because I also didn't notice it at first, because you know what's above the ocean, right? Air. They are above the ocean. We're getting a boat, not a submersible. So we're just going to have to contend with gunships instead of hunters and pumpkins. Again, brilliant plan.
But first we need this goddamn train to move. Someone has got to get past those zombies, get in the control room, and activate the train. Any volunteers? That's real brave of you, Larry. Your country's proud of you.
Hello? Me? I did not volunteer, sir.
If your mother was alive, she'd be proud of you, son.
My mother is dead?
You might die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Alright, I'll do it.
Good. Take Larry with you.
But first, you and Larry, the comedy genius as it were,
Sorry, Sarge. I'm taking it.
Do your marine
Stop.
thing.
The tickles. Stop.
need to go clear out the zombies and get something started. That part is a little unclear. You fight some zombies, Larry seems really, really into you,
The tickles.
and then we have a mad dash to the train control room. And now we get the worst cutscene I have ever seen in a video game. And I mean this, I have seen cutscenes that don't load, don't have audio, but I have never seen one that is so poorly directed, acted, lit, and shot. This is terrible.
My fellow Americans, as your President and Commander-in-Chief, it is with a heavy heart that I'm informing you that we have made a strategic decision to surrender to the alien invaders known as the Combine. Right now, this is the best chance for our survival as Americans and as humans.
Resident Evil 1 has some weird VO, but this has a smug Keemstar role-playing as Donald Trump.
This has been the hardest decision of my life, and I did not do so lightly. As Americans, and indeed as human citizens, we have never willingly surrendered to oppression. And this very idea is anathema to our core values and everything we hold dear.
This is a cutscene where we learned the US government has surrendered to the Combine, and Keemstar here is jerking himself off over the radio waves.
Yet, the fact and hard truth remains that we lost this battle for now. And believe me, we will live to fight another day. We shall return. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
It is so poorly executed. How did no one watch this and go, maybe we should change that? And that's just fucking Keemstar.
I never voted for this guy.
I guess you don't understand the situation, my friend. We're all dead men walking.
Those things. The only thing we know for sure is those things are smarter than we thought. Think about it. The first hour they come through the portals, but not just random locations. First those motherships targeted the military bases. So they cut all the firepower we had. Then they released the grunts to the populated areas, cities. It's like they know the way we are. They know our weaknesses.
Those creatures can be many things, but they're not stupid.
Do you know something we don't, Black Ops?
Well, I guess I do.
Well, maybe you should open your mouth and start talking.
The aliens are coming! We've been compromised!
Spit it out, Corporal!
Fucking Pyro Cynical comes in the end and delivers an Oscar-worthy performance.
Oh, Colonel. We are so fucked.
Everyone else is just as bad. Fucking Adam's VO is barely trying. I guess he does come off as snarky and unlikable, so maybe he is playing the character very well, actually. And I'm not sure if you noticed it, but this game has like those weird Kojima-esque camera zooms. And simply put, I fucking hate them. They are unmotivated and it only works to make each line more noticeably shitty. And why does Mitchell suffer a crisis of faith when Keemstar announces the surrender of the country? At least the director knew how to frame up a shot. We have a nice triangle going on there. That's nice, but it does stand out as well done in the montage of shit. And this isn't to mention the utterly strange cuts on Nick's little monologue. He jumps between poses each cut. It's jarring and utterly unacceptable for a game that bills itself as a cinematic masterpiece.
Random locations. First, those motherships targeted the military bases, so they cut all the fire.
We leave the cutscene and we're facing the wrong way again. I hate this game so much. So we run forward, we get disappointed, turn around and head outside. And I know from Captain whatever the fuck that I have to open up this gate. I break some boxes, turn a valve, and... okay. The valve doesn't turn anymore, so why isn't the gate up? Well, remember that shitty pro mechanic from an hour ago? We have to use that again. Something which will, no joke, ever come up again. It gets used twice, and that's it. We turn the valve, let our boys through, and now we have to find the train. And much like many metros around the world, it proves to be awkward and you have to ask yourself a lot of deep questions like, where do I go? Where's all the ammo? Which, once again, highlights the core problem of this game. What am I meant to be doing here? What's the actual objective? Is it to get on the train or to defend the train? Is there a trigger? Do I have to get on the train? What am I doing? The lack of ammo legit makes me stab pumpkin heads, like for fuck's sakes. I keep scouring the station until I magically find the carriage that looks identical to the others. But like, you could be wandering around the expanse of this train station for the rest of your life if you didn't get lucky. Plus, it's through the hordes of combined soldiers that we just don't have the ammo to deal with. It's a shitty experience. But, and this is a big but, it was fun. It was chaotic and random. It felt really broken, but it was fun because of it. And again, but this soon wears off and becomes tedium. But I feel like at this point, we should all be expecting that from this game, right? Whoa, okay, now we're in a train's cockpit? Control room? Whatever. The doors don't open, but we do have a ladder. So we ascend into the void and get confused. We walk around some... oh, okay, we have music. Okay. Some shit's probably going down, I guess. It's probably on its way. Whoa, okay, sure, whatever. I mean, like, I won't say no. Is something meant to happen here? Whoa! Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. These triggers make no sense, dude. Like, what decides the miniguns to spawn? What decides the gunships to spawn? Most games have it making sense, but this is something else. You can probably see where this little sequence is going. We kill some gunships, and then we lose a carriage. Kill some gunships, lose a carriage. We keep doing that until we're left with just the front engine. It takes about 5 minutes of constant shooting when nothing changes. It's very boring. They made a minigun shooting gallery boring. And then we cut to black. We then cut into a cutscene where our three main characters are walking towards some military cosplayers. Something stolen valor. We then get some character building for everyone who died aboard the train. including the weirdly fake mustache-wearing Colonel Q. Even Larry, the lovable sidekick that had more character development than most of the characters on screen right now.
Welcome to Nevada, boys. Where's the rest of you?
They're dead. All of them. Combine got them.
We also learned the aliens are called the Combine. When did that happen? Keemstar didn't mention it. Neither did Q, or Larry, or the train. So is this just an oversight, or did I miss something?
Colonel Q?
Dead.
Shit.
We get the typical "he was a tough bastard" line.
He was always a tough bastard.
Toughest son of a bitch I ever knew.
I'm Lieutenant Harvey, and these are my men. 5th Ranger Company.
Sergeant Mitchell. Adam. Nick.
Alright, Sergeant. We got 6 hours to make it to the beach. The road to California will take a few hours, then we're gonna stop by the warehouse to get some supplies, and people too if we can.
But the point of this cutscene is to establish we have 6 hours to reach the beach. But first we have to swim past the warehouse. The only warehouse that exists, fun fact, to pick up some supplies.
We're expecting some heavy combat with Combine on the way. You guys take this one. One of you get up on the gun and follow us. Rangers, lead the way!
Oh my god. A vehicle section? Finally, I can't see how they're gonna fuck this one up. Fuck's sakes. I had seriously misplaced my happiness there. If you remember, this is what I called the worst looking level of Hunt Down the Freeman. I also neglected to tell you that it's easily the worst level overall. It consists of driving from point A to point B. You get ambushed by some Combine every now and then, but it's weird because the game even gives you a replacement vehicle despite the fact that the vehicle doesn't take damage. Which leads me to think that playtesting for this level led to lots of complaints over stuck vehicles. Maybe they fell down the seams in the world that are present every 2 meters. I like to think that this is a problem because it makes the level slightly more acceptable in my mind, oddly enough. This level is also an escort mission, but the catch is the vehicle you're escorting, this truck, can't take damage either. It actually exists to hinder your progress. It frequently tries to ram you off the road. It's better they either speed ahead or stick behind it. And I don't even think your progression is tied to the truck. I reckon you could just speed forward to get to the level change trigger and be completely fine. But I did not want to chance this game. I did not want to unleash some bug that forces me to start over from the top, which I know has happened to some people. So I played it safe, because if this level has one positive, it's that I know what I'm meant to be doing. It is the only level in the whole game that actually makes that clear. Jesus. We reach the level loader and transition directly into the next, and whew, fucking hell, we're going to quick. Mitchell might be about to lose his license, everyone. Our truck just pulls over and then some headcrab canisters just spawn in front of us. And look. A Humvee-sized hole. Perfect. We know from the voice over the radio we need to go to the factory. So let's go. But first, we have to suffer from a bout of misdirection yet again. I wandered around the map for about 5 minutes trying to figure out where to go. 2 buildings, both of which look like factories. But to be fair to the game, this might just be me, but the correct building does have smokestacks, so I probably should have clued into those, but I still think it's unreadable. So we enter the factory. We spawn, once again, facing a wall for what I'm pretty sure is the last time. Some workers are chilling in the factory, there's random boards of stuff on them which litter the room. It is admittedly a very weird way to do set dressing, but at this point, I'm pretty happy just to declare it as something. And then we meet Joe, Boston Joe, and I'm just going to let this play out in full because I don't really know how to just encapsulate the pure weirdness of this cutscene.
Whoa! Have you lost your fucking mind? Lower that thing. You're gonna blow us all up.
Jesus, man. Calm down.
Don't fucking tell me to calm down. There's a gas leak that can blow half of us all the way to hell with a fucking match. Half the guys on the planet are stuck inside, and the other half became brain-fucked zombies because they got a big-ass spider with a huge vagina stuck on their head. And you expect me to be calm?
Okay, you're right. Now help me out here, alright? Tell me, how do we get them out?
There's two ways to get them out of there. The first is getting the generators on so that we get the power back on to open the doors.
Okay. What's the second way? The second way?
I forgot, okay? I'm under pressure here. Give me a fucking break.
First way then.
Remember, no weapons. Here, take this.
A wrench? Why a wrench?
Because I only got one crowbar, and I have no intention to give it away.
Well, I got bad memories with crowbars anyways. Mitchell, by the way.
Joe, but everyone calls me Boston Joe.
Alright, Joe. Let's save your friends from spiders with vaginas.
I'm gonna kick some bubblegum and chew some asses, and I'm all out of asses.
Wait a minute. I thought you said no weapons.
About the shotgun, yeah. It was the other room that had the gas leak, not this one, so you're fine.
Really?
I mixed it up, yeah.
I do love how the game sets up a potentially interesting sequence and then immediately backtracks. And like, it's not even in the cutscene. But at least Joe is somewhat likable, if not just another comedy sidekick character, which is fine, but this game has far too many of them. I also really did like the little jab at the Mitchell vs. Freeman cutscene. It was charming, a little nonsensical, but then again, this whole sequence makes zero fucking sense. The general idea is that we have to get those workers out of that room, so we need to go override the door. So we fight some zombies, and then we reach the room that you think would have controls in it, but we can't interact with them. There's quite literally nothing in this room to do, because, well, the worker door opens as soon as you get into this room. The door into the room is the trigger for that other worker door to open. You just have to leave the entire building once you enter this room. There's no fanfare or logic or cutscene. You just have to accept and expect that the game's fucked in order to progress. I wandered around this area where the zombies were a couple times, looking for a hidden room or a switch, but nothing. The game, for all intents and purposes, is just that lazily made. You don't even get to see the workers leave. The door's just partially open. Once outside, we get greeted by what I can only describe as the Manhack 2.0. It's more dangerous, more visible, and somewhat easier to kill. And, well, they fucking explode. The game has no quarrel of sending over a dozen at you at a time. It quickly becomes extremely annoying. One of them is enough to finish you off, but a dozen? That's Mitchell everywhere. He's over the walls and floors of this fine factory. This level is effectively a wave-based defense. You fight off hunters, pumpkinheads, manhacks 2.0. It is, to be fair and to be honest, a very decent level actually. The one thing that I actually quite like about Hunter and the Freeman so far is the combat. So a mission based around combat is generally a pretty good experience. Enemies are either already there in the warehouse, or enemies spawn in via Half-Life 1-esque Zen portal effects. It is a decent way of doing things. But out of all the enemies so far in this section, the hunters are easily the most enjoyable to fight. Because I do suspect that they have the exact same AI from Half-Life 2, so they already know how to maneuver, use tactics, albeit rather limited tactics, as the hunters in Half-Life 2 were kind of just... They were kind of just like, ooh, here's a new enemy. That's kind of the purpose. They were there to break up combat with the normal, bipedal combat enemies. So, it works here as well, frankly. And if you do find yourself a ladder to the roof, you can even find a sniper rifle that actually functions like a sniper rifle. The scope is pretty nice here as well. It's a nice section, and, well, then the music stops, and so does the combat, and the game's lack of direction rears its head again. Like, what am I meant to be doing here? I do eventually find out what I'm meant to be doing, because I find our truck from earlier. It's just next to some bollards. I find the lever, and then the truck leaves. But I got my Humvee stuck earlier, so I decided just to run after the truck. It admittedly takes a while, but at least it's something. It works. Whoa. Okay, well, sure, I guess. We're now in a cargo port, or something. I mean, cool, but why? And fuck's sakes, we spawn in right next to a fucking security booth with a solid emissive white floor. Did literally no one test this game? That's straight up a floor without a texture. Oh, it might even be the default material or something. I don't fucking know, it's fucked. And to make things worse, I have no idea why I'm here. I know that the narrative communicates that we need to get a boat, but I thought it was a military boat. Why is that a fucking civilian cargo port? And what direction is the boat in? I do kind of just explore the area until I see those the floating camera bot things. I forget the name of what Half-Life 2 calls them. And if you look in the distance way out there, they obviously just spawn them in every unit of time. And you can see them spawn in. It is really fucking lazy. And I guess I just have to go the way that they're spawning, right? Is that why they're here? Are they here to direct the player on where to go? I just literally have no idea. And then, as seemingly out of the blue, a small squadron of hunters show up and attack some pot shots, because what the fuck else am I meant to do? And through killing them, I can now see the lighthouse, which is the objective for this stage. Which, you know, isn't communicated and doesn't make much sense at all. I'm here for a boat, so why am I going to the lighthouse? And on the way, there's just heaps of random shit to look at, a warehouse that should have ammo but doesn't, crates lined up for parkour but have an invisible wall. It's disappointing. Even when you get to the lighthouse, there's no communication of what to do. I climb a ladder, and before I hit the next ladder, I'm already running into an invisible object. Like, what the fuck? Playtest your game, you fucking nonce. Hunt Down the Freeman also is about to have its first set piece, which is set upon that random lighthouse. And it feels and looks just as bad as you would expect from this game at this point. It's terrible and makes no sense why we go up there. Is it just so the game can connect these two maps together? Probably. But dress it up a little bit more. Jesus. And then, in a fit of what I can only describe as game designer genius, we're now in the water with a gunship shooting at us, and we can't take cover. So we just take damage, and it's such a stupid fucking gimmick. Like, once on land, the game does start to feel more like a game and less of a strange experimental art piece about loss. But the gunship is still a major pain in my ass. But now I have a car because that makes sense for the environment we're in. Which, in case it isn't clear, also has no shadows. But I feel like I could focus on that for like the better half of an hour. So we'll just skip talking about that. Like, you can see it. You know it's terrible. The conclusion would just be that it's shit not to have shadows, especially in a scene with directional lighting. It's just awful design, frankly. And the car presents an interesting problem as well. It effectively changes the sense of scale in the area because suddenly we're moving at double the speed. And we can dish out damage really quickly. We can turn hunters into mincemeat. It's kind of nice. I am making great progress with this game now, right? But then, well, these portals show up and we get a new enemy. It's a Vortigaunt. And this should be fun. They're a low-level enemy, so it should be relatively simple. And no, it takes 2 shots to kill me. What the fuck? And then the game spawns like 4 of them at a time, so you have a 50-50 chance of being 2-shot at any one time. It's shit. So this is obviously going to be a very annoying sequence, and we're not even halfway through the game yet. So, armed with the logic that I probably shouldn't be fighting the Vortigaunts, I decided to try a new approach. If I see them spawn, I fucking leg it. And through doing this new strategy of mine, I do eventually just find this random flare on the ground. I mean, the last flare pointed me to this Humvee, so it must be the level exit point, is my logic. But it just leads into a maze of cargo containers. But the flare was there, so this must be the way, right? Like, Jesus Christ. You're quite literally just meant to find the right passage through. It's not even gameplay. It's just fucking so bizarre that this is where the level transition point is. Why?